Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading for the week of October 6th. This week you have this Loyal Heart card and this Blessed card. I love this Blessed card. It's a card of blessings coming in for you. The Loyal Heart card is great for love, of course. You know, it could be a loyal connection coming in at this time. Again, the end of the year here is really good for water signs who want love. So if you want love, then definitely an opportunity to get into a connection. I also think it's a great time. I was literally just gonna say, because of Uranus going back into Taurus, and you have Taurus right here, Scorpio, and that Uranus and Taurus energy is really good for doing more of what you love. So, if there are hobbies, activities, people, places, things that you love, spending more time in those situations is just going to benefit you more. The Hierophant is a card of blessings. He's blessing these two people in front of him. But sometimes with the Hierophant, I think we have to create our own blessings. We have to do things, that make us feel blessed. And if we do that, then, obviously good things can happen. So that's what I would do there. You have the Ten of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Page of Wands. Yeah, I'm not, almost everyone has had the Ten of Swords this week, I think, so far. And the Ten of Swords can be some sort of ending. We do have a full moon on Monday, on the 6th, in Aries. And, full moons don't necessarily end things, but, I guess I could see how, a lot of us could be closing things out. Really the thing that I blame is Pluto retrograde. We're getting to the end of Pluto retrograde. It will end in the middle of this month, October, so soon. And, Pluto retrograde wants us to get to the bottom of things in our lives and, just figure deep problems out, but not even problems. It just, pretty much anything that we are doing in life, it wants us to figure it out and get to the bottom of it, right? And the Ten of Swords is really a blessing in disguise. You have that Blessed card, you have this card, you have the Hierophant. It seems to me like there are blessings coming in for you. He's even making a symbol with his hand here that represents a blessing. So there could be some blessings coming in for you at this time, Scorpio. You have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords can be a victory or success. And yeah, you have some very good cards for this. Emperor, Fool, the Sun as well is a very good card. The Sun isn't necessarily a victory, but the Sun is pretty much anything that will make you happy. So if you're overcoming an obstacle, which, the sword here is above these mountains, and it can represent overcoming some sort of obstacle. The Ace of Swords also can represent a sacrifice. We have this palm frond here, this olive branch over here. And so the Ace of Swords can represent cutting one thing out to have something better in your life. And it just wouldn't surprise me if you were removing something with that Ten of Swords and, so that you can have something better. And again, there's something maybe about this full moon that could be kind of triggering this for you, Scorpio. But overall, I think it's a good thing. You have the Page of Wands. You have the Page of Wands and the Queen of Wands. Page of Wands, he just follows his enthusiasm. The Queen of Wands, she follows the sun, literally. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But she also follows her desire. So they are kind of similar in some ways. And, it's kind of weird that we have a lot of logical energy in the astrology, but the readings have basically been telling people to not be logical, right? The Page of Wands, it's what he wants to do with his life. It might not really make logical sense, but maybe it's what his heart is telling him to do is something that doesn't seem logical. Maybe you have a good job, but maybe you feel like you should be getting something new or different. Or maybe you feel like you should be starting a business, but maybe you've never done it before. It's that's only one example. There's a billion things that could be happening in your life. But that's the time that we're in. I think we're all being encouraged to leave that logical comfort zone and to follow our heart more. Especially again, when Uranus goes back into Taurus, it's kind of like our last chance with Uranus and Taurus to create freedom or to do something that makes us feel more free. And I feel the Page of Wands is saying that. I also feel you could be attracting love here. Again, we don't have a ton of love cards in the reading itself, but you have that Loyal Heart card. You have this Great and Full card showing up here. It's kind of leading me in that direction. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Ace of Cups, right? Anytime I say that the reading is not about love, of course, a love card comes up. So But again, but basically what I was saying is it kind of is about love. So I feel for some of you, this could be like a new connection. You have 2 aces here. This always happens to me as well. It's either I do the yearly readings and I get a bunch of aces like right at the beginning of the year, which kind of makes sense. It's a new year, you're starting something new. This year, it's like the end of the year. We are getting a bunch of aces in readings. So, it seems to me like we're all being asked to start something new right now or to look for new opportunities. It kind of makes sense because, again, a lot of these big planets are retrograde: Saturn, Neptune, Pluto. Mercury will be going retrograde in November. So it's like we're ending the year with a bunch of retrogrades, kind of. And, Uranus, if I didn't say that as well. And then at the beginning of the year, that's when they all kind of really get moving forward, especially once we get to I would say we kind of clear the energy in March because Saturn doesn't move back into Aries until February, like the end of February. And so it's kind of takes a little bit of time for it to get moving. But, definitely a lot of good new, anything new that you want to start, I would highly recommend it. Probably will bring in blessings. With the Ace of Swords, what do you know? It's the Virgo that's been all up in your business for, 6 months now here, Scorpio. So, if you're looking for love, could be an earth sign, or it could be someone with Virgo or Taurus in their chart or something, like Taurus rising, Virgo rising, something like that. But yeah, this person's been showing up for a while. The Hermit can also say it's time for you to get out of hermit mode, right? Which I do feel is true right now. So anything you can do to, get out in public, meet new people, have fun, put yourself out there. He's completed his dark night of the soul. Sometimes I think we don't realize that we are done with something that we've been learning spiritually. And that's what the Hermit is saying to me, to you, is that you are done. And it's time to move forward. With the Page of Wands, you have the Six of Swords. Yes, because your heart will set you free, to use a cliche here, Scorpio. Really, I think this is what this is going to affect you more because you're a fixed sign, your opposite sign, Taurus, right? So, I think that because Uranus is going back into Taurus, you are going to be more affected than most people, except for Taurus. And I would take advantage of that energy of being able to set yourself free or to follow your heart. Again, you have the Ace of Cups, the Loyal Heart, the Great and Full card in your next row. These are all cards of, really doing things that fulfill you. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Close Encounters card and this Great and Full card. Again, this Close Encounters card is about setting yourself free, getting out of this cage that these 2 butterflies have been kind of in. The Great and Full card obviously is about doing more things that make you feel grateful or that make you feel fulfilled. Ace of Cups is very similar. And again, the Great and Full card even looks like the Ace of Cups a little bit. So I feel for a lot of you, it's time to follow your heart, even if it doesn't necessarily make logical sense, or even if you want to make changes that are hard to explain to other people. I just said to Cancer as well. I mean, my thing for water, especially until March, basically, is, there are probably going to be a lot of people in your life that are like, what are you doing with your life? Blah, blah, blah. Saying all these things. Your job is to ignore it, right? And again, I think this is a very water sign energy. I just think that what water signs could be doing with their life right now might not make sense to other people, but your job is to not even worry about it. The thing about the Hermit is that the Hermit, he kind of needs to be an inspiration. He has the star in his lantern, and he needs to come down from the mountain and get into the world, and he needs to be an inspiration to other people. But he's not doing this like the Hierophant. The Hierophant is being a teacher. The Hierophant is sitting people down and being like, do this, do that, right? The Hermit just lives his life. He just is the thing that he wants to be. There's nothing he has to explain to anyone because his results speak for themselves, right? And I kind of feel that's the time you're in here. With this reading is it's saying there's no need to explain the choices, the decisions, that anything you make to anyone. It's just going to drive you crazy because they're not going to understand it. Your job is to just show, right? You have the Hierophant, the Emperor, and the Four of Pentacles. Hierophant is also blessing, so, it seems to be a blessed week this week. I do feel October is good for you. It's your birth month. Happy birthday to Scorpios out there, but what I would say here is that, again, there could be some blessings. I definitely don't think it's a perfect month, but, things could feel a little lighter just in general. I also feel that with the Hierophant here, you will feel a little bit more kind of on your path. These 2 people here are initiates. They are being initiated into his belief system, but they're parallel to each other. Sometimes I feel the Hierophant is talking about a parallel path where it's like you're on this journey and you are kind of working alongside something else, like an idea or a person or whatever. And that's kind of what I feel on this card, is that it's confirmation for the changes you're making or the things that you're doing. You have the Emperor. The Emperor can be about taking control of your life and taking control of opportunity. We have this full moon in Aries on the 6th, on Monday, and, this is Aries, so I do feel, and, one thing about this full moon is I do feel that it could be bringing in opportunities for you, like random opportunities to do things that you want to do. So the Emperor, he is sitting here with his armor on. It says, it kind of represents the fact that he is ready to go at a moment's notice. So whenever an opportunity presents itself, he's going to jump on it. He's going to take advantage of it. And I feel like you should be preparing for big opportunities that could lead to blessings in the future, with all these blessed cards showing up here. You have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like, I would be careful of playing it too safe. All three water signs had this card this week. And again, I wonder if it's like kind of the full moon, but also Pluto. Pluto is power. Pluto is where we get our power. Whenever it's retrograde, it's not that we feel powerless, but we could be examining our power in the world, like where we get power, how we use it, what it's good for, all that other stuff. And that's more the feeling I get for you here, Scorpio, with the Four of Pentacles, is that maybe you've been trying to get to the bottom of the things that you can control in your life. And but I also feel like the Four of Pentacles is kind of like saying, okay, you've done that now. And it's like, now you know what to do, so, like, go and do it. You have the Fool. I know that's easier said than done. Trust me, I'm right there with you. But you have the Fool in the next row, which is like, okay, it's like time to take that leap of faith. That's going to make you powerful. With the Hierophant, you have the Three of Wands. Three of Wands would be expanding past beliefs, which is very Neptune and Pisces. Neptune will retrograde into Pisces in the middle of this month. Neptune and Pisces is a direct challenge to traditional belief. There are things that we've always believed just because we have. And I feel the Three of Wands with the Hierophant could say that you're starting to maybe believe in yourself. This Close Encounters card in the deck, in the book for the deck, I'm pretty sure that Colette Baron-Reed, who created that deck, she says something about, that the Great and Full card is more about saying you are enough, like believing that you have the power to do something. And, maybe that's what the Three of Wands is saying. I look at the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands as cards of taking the lead in the tarot. They both kind of represent the same thing in some ways. They're very similar. They're different, but they do have some similarities. And, I feel this is saying, like, where can you take your power back? Or where can you be powerful? And that's what I would do with this card. With the Emperor here, you have the Ace of Pentacles, 3 aces, which is amazing. So, and didn't I say opportunity on that Emperor card? I'm pretty sure I did. And the Ace of Pentacles is usually like a big opportunity that has potential. I think that is kind of the problem with the Ace of Pentacles. We can have an opportunity, but it might not make logical sense, like I've been saying with this Page of Wands. It might not, we might see the opportunity and potential, but potential means nothing. Potential is what you put into it. So, but again, this reading is clearly encouraging you to look at an opportunity where maybe you're not sure what the outcome it will be, and definitely people aren't going to think it makes sense, but you should probably do it anyway. It seems to be a very good time for finances. But what I would say is it's like good for people who do something to create more finances, right? So I would be doing something to improve your finances. With the Four of Pentacles, are you kidding? Ace of Swords again. So a bunch of aces. Ace of Swords is like a victory or a big success. The Ace of Swords is a card of fortitude. It is a card of strength, kind of. And we were talking about that with the Four of Pentacles. That's where I started talking about your power. So, it seems to me like either you're taking your power back or you are thinking about how you use your power in the world. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, yes, you have this card. It says, let it go. Yes, it says, let go of all that no longer serves you. Ten of Swords, Ace of Swords, these are cards of cutting things out. You have this card that says, connect to the eternity within. It says, let yourself be held by love. I think for those of you that want love, this is encouraging you to allow it or to open up to it. Especially with that Close Encounters card. That Close Encounters card, again, in the book for that deck, she says something about how it's a card in love of being vulnerable. needing to open yourself up to be vulnerable in a connection in the first place. So if you want love, there's a little bit of love here, and I would just open up, right? You have the Fool, the Queen of Wands, and the Three of Swords. Again, the Fool has to take the risk of looking like a fool. That is the whole point of the card, is that people might be saying, hey, you're a fool for taking that leap of faith off that cliff. But, he knows more. Everything about him kind of represents knowledge, wisdom, and being over-prepared. He has this tiny little sack on his back. He's about to go through the entire major arcana, and he also has this big feather in his cap, right? We say when someone is smart, we say they have a feather in their cap. So he has everything he needs right here, right between his two ears. And I feel like the Fool is saying, don't be afraid of looking like a fool. Anyone who's done anything not only has looked like a fool in their life, but has had to take the risk of looking like a fool for doing whatever it is that they're doing. So, and also he has this dog here, by the way, and that dog kind of says, like, be loyal to what you love. You have that Ace of Cups, a Great and Full card. I think both those cards are saying be loyal to the things you love. Be willing to put yourself out there and do the things that you think you should do or that feel right. Maybe not logically, but maybe in your heart, right? You have the Queen of Wands. Again, Queen of Wands has this sunflower here. I love readings where we have the Queen of Wands and the sun, because the sunflower points towards the sun. The sunflower is pointing towards something like a move she should make or something that she should be doing in her life. And I definitely feel it's time for you to make a move here towards the sun. The sun is just something that brings you joy, happiness, good feelings, enlightenment, all the good stuff. So I would definitely take that risk with the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is also about being bold, being assertive, which maybe you are going to have to be a little bit more aggressive this week, especially with that full moon in Aries. Probably everybody is going to have to be more aggressive and really, take action on the things that they want to create, do, be, or have. And I would encourage you to do that. Everything about your reading, she has this black cat right here. The black cat in the times of tarot were considered very unlucky. The whole point of the cat is she doesn't care what anyone thinks. She's willing to look like a fool. She just likes her cat, and that's all she cares about, right? And so it's definitely one of those weeks that is, I don't think it's challenging your confidence. I feel it's saying that it would be a good week for you to have confidence in yourself, right? You have the Three of Swords. This week seems to be one of those healing weeks for sure. So, we still have the South Node in Virgo. And, the South Node in Virgo and we also had that eclipse in Virgo. It can definitely want us to heal. It can definitely want us to, be more sure of ourselves or, whatever you want to call it. So it wouldn't surprise me if you were, having to heal, or if this week you did a little bit more healing. And that's pretty much what I would do with these Three of Swords. Here you go. With the Fool, you have the King of Wands. Definitely could be a very strong connection here if you're looking for love. The King and Queen of Wands are divine counterparts, but they have a lot of desire for each other. So there could be a connection with a lot of desire coming in for you. With the Queen of Wands, you have the King of Pentacles. Yes, didn't I say this? I think I said something on that Four of Pentacles about needing to not play it safe, right? That's definitely the feeling I get from this reading, obviously. There's a lot of energy here that would really encourage you to step outside comfort zones. Don't play it safe. Don't listen to other people necessarily. It's not really, again, I don't think tarot should be drama, right? It doesn't have to be so dramatic where you're like, oh, I'm not going to listen to anyone. It's more just about sure, you can take people's advice, but don't take it to heart, right? And, do what you think is right this week, and don't be afraid of evolving or changing. Now, the King of Pentacles, the reason I say this is because he is the card of convention. He just does what, he plays it safe. He does what he's always done. And so I think it's time for you to take some risk. With the Three of Swords, you have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, some of you could be healing from a past connection that hurt you. Seven of Swords can be lying, cheating, stealing. But what I would say is that the Seven of Swords is really a good card. He is stealing those swords from an army in the background. So he's going to war, but in a different way. And if you are attracting love, it might be a good time for you to realize that there are different ways that you can have love. There are different ways that you can have connections and relationships. And I feel like it's saying, don't be afraid of entering into new connections in a different way. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have a synchronicity card and this do nothing card. Yeah, again, with this full moon, there is, even though it's in Aries, there is something about it, about like, also making sure to like rest, relax, recover, heal. So it might be a good week for you to take time to do that. Also, synchronicities has come up a lot. So I think paying attention to signs, symbols, synchronicities, messages, dreams, all that would be important. You have the sun, the moon, and the Queen of Pentacles. Now, normally I do not like the sun and the moon together in a reading. And if the sun and the moon do show up in a reading, I prefer the moon first and then the sun, because when it comes up in that order, it kind of would suggest that you're entering into a sun period, you're leaving a moon period. But this is coming up in the good stuff. So this could be you attracting a person that's very different. Like you're like the sun and the moon, right? You're like the opposite sides of the spectrum, or whatever you want to call it. But sometimes, they say opposites attract. So, you definitely could be attracting the opposite. Also coming up in the good stuff again, both cards together can just represent clarity. The sun is actually a combination of the sun and the moon. The sun has these straight rays and these squiggly rays right here, and it kind of represents a mixture of both energies together. So a lot of you could be using, what you know and also what you don't know with the moon. The moon is a mystery. The moon is about being willing to explore a mystery. And so, obviously anything that we do, it's like, yeah, we might not know how to do something like start a relationship or a business or get a new job, but we don't really know what the outcome is going to be. And so I kind of feel the combination of these two is kind of saying, it's like, enough with the Fool. Obviously, you have the knowledge and wisdom, but you're just not sure what the outcome of something is going to be. But it's showing up in the good stuff. So I feel there will probably be a positive outcome. The moon also encourages us to stay on the path. There are these two pillars here, and these two pillars are a warning from the Fool. They basically tell him, you need to see something through to the end. We have Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Well, they're both retrograding out of Aries this month. Saturn's in Pisces right now, but Neptune in the middle of the month will be in Pisces. But we've already, been there. They've already both been in Aries. I think with Saturn, especially in Aries, we all need to pick one thing and finish it, right? So the moon is basically saying that. You have the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is like an increase in your resources. You also have the King and Queen of Pentacles, which is very good for a connection. So, you definitely have like a divine counterpart here. It could be an earth sign. You always get earth with me here, Scorpio. With the sun, yes, you have the High Priestess, trusting your intuition, but also a card of mystery. So it's funny that we were talking about that. It's like, I think you know a lot more than you give yourself credit for, but there's still, of course, there are always things we're not going to know. And I feel this is about getting comfortable with that. I would also pay attention to your messages that you're receiving. The sun shines a light on, wherever it shows up in a reading. And so I feel it's kind of like saying like, hey, your dreams, your daydreams, your intuitions, all those things are going to be very important right now. With the moon, you have the Chariot. Yeah, definitely could be a victory. You have the Ace of Swords twice showing up here in this reading. The Chariot is about charging towards a victory or charging towards success. So I feel there could be a big success coming in for you. The other thing this could say is that that life has been a mystery, and you are a Scorpio. You are very mysterious. So, it's like maybe there are things that have been completely mysterious to you, and you could finally be getting to the bottom of those mysteries. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Four of Swords. Four of Swords can be like resting, relaxing, recovering, healing. Like I said, this week there's something about it that is really encouraging people to rest, relax, recover, heal, take time for themselves. But I think it's like a balance thing where, clearly we have a lot of energy that's talking about taking action. So we kind of need to know when to do both. When you feel inspired to take action, take action. Neptune and Pisces. Even though Neptune doesn't move back into Pisces till the middle of the month, I would start right now. If you feel inspired to do something, do it. If you don't, take a break. You have this lion. It says, time to act. So, maybe right now is a time for action for you, Scorpio. So I would take those actions. Yeah, you have this table card that says hard work ahead. This year, it's very important that we don't just work hard to work hard. If you're putting hard work into something and you're getting a bigger result than what you put into it back, great, work hard. if you're working hard and you're getting burnt out, not great, right? Then you should pay attention to that and you should not do it. Whatever it is that isn't efficient, right? We are in a year of efficiency still. Even next year, I think it's going to continue. So I would make sure you're being efficient. You have this fair woman card that says dealings with relationships with a woman with blonde, gray, or white hair. You have this tankard that says celebration, fun, and enjoyment. Yeah, with all the the Ace of Cups, the great and full card, anything you can do to spend time with people who matter to you, who fulfill you, that's going to be very beneficial. You have this dog close up. It says pleasure with a close friend. There you go. So again, anything you can do to find support. And again, that's the other thing. Again, maybe there are a lot of people in your life that don't understand you, but even if you have like one person who you feel does understand you, spend more time with that person, right? It's just going to lift you up, right? But I also think you need to understand that no one is going to understand you, which is fine. You have this tent card that says temporary situation. You do have the Chariot, here. So some of you could be in a temporary situation or you could be moving. I think people forget that the Three of Swords also represents a temporary situation. So, if you are in a weird situation right now, it is temporary. But this looks pretty good here, Scorpio. So I like it. Make sure to leave a comment. It really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your week.